Rec Room Sports, Olympians carrying the torch, going where they don't go, we ain't lost. From the optics to the topics, we got this with synopsis. Think outside the boxes like Jay on the mic, or your boy K Witt. Joe is my coach, T Sweat on the mix. All sports, even if you catch fish like Nate Diaz catches fist. You need to catch this episode, it's a can't miss. We go live and you should subscribe and X's and O's. We made our plan, yo.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can hear that. Fellas, can you hear it? Yes, that's right. April 2nd, 2026, Easter weekend. It's the boys from the RecRoomSports crew. Look at that. I'm getting a little tongue-tied because you know what it is, fellas? I can smell it in the air. It's ladies' night. That's right. We got a special guest coming in to talk about the ladies' Final Four bracket. It's so serious right now. We definitely had to bring in outside help to discuss it. But once again, man, it's the fellas from the Rec Room Sports crew. It's your boy K Witch, mama's #1 draft pick. I'm here, and I got my jelly beans. I don't know if y'all see, y'all got to look at it on camera. Yeah, Trolley got jelly beans, y'all. I don't know if y'all seen them Trolley jelly beans, but when I seen that bag, I had to pick it up. Anyway, of course, joining me today is the homies, man. We got my boy Bobby G. That's right. Cleveland's own, but Las Vegas is home. Bobby G, what's good with you, bro?
Y'all know what it is. OHIO. All the way to Duval. What's happening? Hey, Jacksonville, how y'all doing?
All right. You know you got to represent for him. And, of course, my brother from another mother, Blazers fan extraordinaire. By way of New York and South Carolina, we got JDMIC. Jay was really good.
Man, don't y'all feel a little bit like great about the environment right now? Like the roses are bright, bees are buzzing, the sun is out. It's a beautiful day, and Duke is not.
See, I knew you was going somewhere with that, and we will have further conversations about Duke and where they have gone, and is it still fashionable to hate on Duke? But anyway, y'all, we're going to get right into the headlines as we do it. Thanks again for my boy Brian for hooking it up right there. First of all, let's go ahead and do it. So if you have not been paying attention to the Major League Baseball opening of the season, one of the biggest topics is the ABS system. That's right. The ABS system, the automatic ball strike system, has been the biggest storyline in this early 2026 MLB season. It's been reshaping how balls and strikes are called, how players strategize, how fans are experiencing the game at home. All kinds of things are taking place. Umpires, ladies and gentlemen, are getting their just due. Anyway, players are signaling reviews for the ABS by tapping their head. So y'all see me tap my head. Y'all know we got to run it back. Okay. So you either tap your helmet or your cap, and they will vocalize that the challenge immediately has to happen after the pitch. And then they will believe whether or not it's been called correctly or incorrectly. Only the pitcher, only the catcher, or the batter can initiate this challenge, and it must be done instantly without consulting the dugout. So don't look at your boys while they in the background, spitting out sunflower seeds. No, you got to know that it was a ball, a strike, whether it's fair or not. And if the ump is wrong, just like some of these calls have been lately, the ump is wrong. Anyway, let's continue. So right now, man, NCAA March Madness viewership is up, averaging about 10.3 million viewers through the Elite Eight. This year's tournament is officially the most watched since 1993, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Representing a 9% increase over about the 2025 window. And, of course, with UConn versus Duke, Elite Eight matchup peaking at about 18.9 million viewers. That's crazy. A lot of people watched that shot. Some people were in bars holding each other while that ball was in the air, and then they watched it fall, and then a lot of people's just worlds ended. And we will get into that, especially if you are a Duke fan. And then, of course, man, right about now, the NFL annual owners meetings are happening. That's right. The 2026 owners meetings are happening from around or have happened from March 29th through the 31st in the Arizona Biltmore Hotel right there in Phoenix. Most of the major topics included things like officiating, refs contingencies, the possibility of an 18-game season, flag football, among other things. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is where your favorite players are really being talked about for being traded. And I'm talking about we've heard the names throughout the season. There's a guy here or there at a team that possibly won the Super Bowl who's just unhappy because he won the game, but he did get the ball and the season didn't have. We'll get into that. Don't worry. I promise you. And then, of course, in other news, somber news, technically, Tiger Woods was involved in a rollover car accident on March 27th in Jupiter Island, right there in Florida. Following the accident, he was arrested on charges including driving under the influence and refusal to submit to a urine test. A Florida judge has granted Woods permission to leave the United States to seek treatment abroad. This decision was based on his physician's recommendation that the level of care that he requires cannot be safely or effectively provided within the U.S., partly because Tiger is Tiger. Now, I know some of y'all heard that and y'all think I'm kicking a man while he's down, but the most important part is that Tiger will get help. That's it. The fact is he needs it. He will get it elsewhere, and hopefully he will not be followed by paparazzi. And last but not least, breaking news right here to the Rec Room Sports crew. I don't know if you know, if you've been living under a rock, but the offseason is happening in the NFL, fellas. Kirk Cousins just got a new deal in Las Vegas. Bobby G, you're out there. I know this has to excite you in some way, shape, or form prior to the draft. But what's been going on is the initial reports cited that it was going to be some big deal, 172 million. No, not at all. It's really around a 1-year deal with about 20 million in the window. The Raiders, the total cash committed will be about 1.3 million, which is a veteran minimum, and the Falcons will be somewhere around the tune of 8 and some change that will be guaranteed. Other allotments will be specified at a later date, but Kirk Cousins is going to Las Vegas ahead of the draft, where they are supposedly going to pick the number 1 quarterback that everybody's been talking about, Mendoza. Now, fellas, you're in the building. I see Uncle Scott in the back. I'm going to bring him up. Uncle Scott, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm well. How you guys doing?
Real quick, guys. Mendoza, Kirk Cousins, the veteran wins again. Will Kirk Cousins start week 1 for another team, just like he did back in the day in James Washington franchise, Atlanta, Minnesota? No matter where he goes, Kirk Cousins is number 1. What are you guys thinking? Oh,
I would
say that again, Jay.
I would say no, but I would not be shocked if it was Kirk Cousins. If Mendoza goes out in preseason and doesn't play well, it's going to be Kirk Cousins until Mendoza's ready. If Mendoza plays to the expectation of the Raiders coaching staff, it will be him, since he's the number 1 draft pick. But it's wide open to me. It could be either way, but I just think it's Mendoza because of where he will be drafted in the NFL draft.
He's paid.
And the Raiders will want to play him because it's the number 1 draft pick. He'll drive tickets, supposedly. I don't think so, but supposedly.
Yeah, it'll be Kirk, man. You don't give a guy to. I mean, they've had some conversation. Obviously, he knows they're taking a QB, and he's brought in to be the bridge and the mentor, whatever you want to call it. But you're not giving a guy $20 million to sit down for 17 weeks. He'll start at least week 1. And just like Scott said, once Mendoza is ready, once Kirk has taught him enough, and the young grasshopper is ready, yeah. But more importantly, remember, this is the 11th year in a row Kirk Cousins is under a fully guaranteed contract.
Paid. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Paid. He's paid, man. You do what you want. Hey, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's his agent? I need his agent.
What?
Look,
you took the words out of my mouth, Scott. Who is his agent? And this is what I was saying from just a viewership standpoint, like somebody looking at it from the outside, looking at it. In real life, having a veteran like Kirk Cousins is a good thing. He's a solid guy, salt of the earth guy, goes to church. In Las Vegas, he's going to find a church, I'm sure.
And a Supercuts.
And I say what?
And a Supercuts.
Yeah, and Supercuts. He's going to definitely find a Supercuts.
Yeah.
And several chains, and he's going to lead Mendoza in the right direction. As we've heard on multiple occasions, Mendoza is very much connected to his spirituality, his family. Somebody like Kirk Cousins being his veteran who may not exactly lead him to take his spot, but will definitely give him a great example to follow, as he has in Minnesota, as he has in Atlanta, as he has in Washington. It's I think it's a no-brainer. I don't think he stay on the whole season, maybe not. But week one, I really see Kirk going out there and doing what Kirk Cousins does best, is being a bridge quarterback, and what other bridge quarterback would you rather have right now than Kirk Cousins? I mean, I'm a Steelers fan. I would have liked to have him in Pittsburgh, but we're not even going to go into what's going to happen with Pittsburgh.
I mean, he has to have been given some assurances by the Raiders organization as well in terms of signing there. Because I think if they said to him, hey, when Mendoza's ready, you're going to the bench or you're going to be released, he would not have signed with the Raiders.
Right.
So I'm sure he's been given the assurances that he felt comfortable with to sign there.
Yeah, that's got to be some assurances in there.
What you gonna go with? Like, I mean, I could think of a lot of other quarterbacks that are better. I mean, who I want as far as a bridge quarterback, to be honest. But I mean, right now it doesn't really matter. Like, Vegas has the money to throw around. Like, they can put me out there. They can afford to do whatever they want to do as far as they can throw any amount of money as they want to, to them. So it's just a necessity to have the money that they have to spend, so you can make a little extra decision here or two that, and then this one could help.
Yeah, it's not only that though. Remember, it's familiar with the playbook and the coaching staff. Remember, he's worked under that coaching staff in Minnesota, so it's like, what better teacher can you have than some, like, he has an in-depth knowledge of the playbook. So, if I want somebody to teach my rookie, it's somebody like that.
Yeah, man. It's definitely I gotta just, it's Tom Brady in the front office, and Tom is going, hey, who can we put this young guy with that won't necessarily spoil the room, that won't, sully the atmosphere, make it uncomfortable for Mendoza to come in and be, the heir apparent. And Kirk Cousins, although a good quarterback, is not necessarily threatening. You know what I'm saying? And when I say threatening, yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's going to hold it down for a few weeks, but he's not going to come in there and push Mendoza away. Maybe, cause some friction. He's not going to go, hey, man, get from behind me, rookie, and hey, look, it's me first when it comes to the water cooler. Go get my donuts, carry my playbook. He's not going to do anything like that. I don't see that type of personality coming from Kirk Cousins. But he's going to have some competition.
He's still Kirk O'Chain.
And I think that's what's the most important.
You say he's still
Kirk O'Chain. You better have my donuts.
But see, here's the deal. Like, that's I guess that's what I wanted to ask y'all real quick. Like, is this at the point where Kirk Cousins is pretty much giving up as far as competitively, and now he's kind of preparing for his life after football? You know what I mean? Like, has he thrown in a white flag as far as being like, I'm probably not gonna be number one guy anywhere else? Who knows? But that it makes me think he's sort of thrown in a white flag as far as like being the number one guy and then longevity. I think now he's preparing for his TV career. And like I said, life after football.
Sure, I'd agree with that. But he wants to get all of the playing out of him. That's how I feel.
Right.
And if there's a check to be gotten, yeah, I'm gonna get that.
And if he could play the whole season by any chance, he's definitely fine with that. Like that's exactly. But yeah, it's just still like, have you pretty much came to terms with like, yeah, this could be your last stop.
Yeah. And look, this is something else I had to think about, right? You know how when we heard Kirk Cousins was going to Atlanta of all places, like all the culture, and Kirk Cousins isn't gonna, man, Kirk Cousins was out there leading the swag surf after wins. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, after wins. Yeah.
So that's just imagine Kirk Cousins getting into that Raider culture, not even the Oakland Raiders, but the Las Vegas Raiders, in the black hole, all blacked out, just rugged, rough, hanging with Max Crosby.
It's never gonna get cold in there, but like when they go to cold places, he's gonna have that jacket on early in the game. You know what I'm saying?
There is one problem though. Who the heck is he throwing the ball to after Brock Bowers?
Oh man,
that's me.
That's on
Bobby.
I signed a 1-year deal, $15 guaranteed, fully guaranteed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So speaking of deals, you guys, we need to tell everybody to pull up Unique Trends and Styles Barbershop. That's right, 266 Blandon Boulevard, Suite 8A in Orange Park, where every cut is customized and every texture is welcome. If you need your locks and wigs done, what's up, Miss Sheree? That's right, you can go see her. They've got a professional loctician in the house. Kids can chill in the play area. Grown folks can vibe in the game room, and everybody leaves looking sharp. Unique Trends and Styles. Enter as a customer. Return as family. Right next to City Thrift. It's the boys from Rec Room Sports Show. We got somebody coming up real special after the break. Make sure you stay locked in. We'll be back in just a minute. You don't? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's ladies' night, and the feeling's right. Okay, it's your boys from Rec Room Sports Radio right here on ESPN 690 in the Anna John Levine studios. It is 24 after the hour, and man, let me tell you something. Every once in a while, we get an opportunity to line some things up, and it's not just us. It's actually set up by my guy, the plug, Brian. Brian, what it do, Brian? Mr. Middleton, I see you. Thank you so much for hooking this up for us. But what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to bring in a guest who, of course, due to the fact that we might not have as much insight as her, we got to bring her in with the funk. So, of course, right about now, I have the pleasure of introducing national ESPN radios and also as seen on Action Sports Jax, Ms. Mia O'Brien. Ms. Mia, what it do?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man. No, thank you for coming in and joining us. It is the guys from the Rec Room Sports Show. We are extremely excited. We got Uncle Scott, who's been coaching women's high school basketball for the longest. We've got Jay, the MIC. We got Bobby G in the building, and we are so glad to have you join us now. There are a couple things that I have an opportunity to have heard you do. I'm not going to make you say Duval right now. I'm not going to make you do that. I'm not going to surprise you. But in terms of women's sports, women's basketball, we know that that's your wheelhouse. So can we get into a couple questions?
Absolutely. Just make sure you guys aren't hearing an echo, because I am hearing a little echo on my end.
A little echo. Okay. We got Brian on that. No worries. We're going to get that sorted out. So we might as well go ahead and get it done. That way Brian gets a little 1-2 so we can get that squared away. So right about now, of course, the Final Four is happening. We have been on the edge of our seats watching 4 number 1 seeds reach the Final Four. And being that that's happening right now, it's kind of one of those things where I guess we could have all seen it happening, but this season has been such a roller coaster. As you look at it from your standpoint, is the gap between the number 1s and the rest of women's college ball expanding, or is shrinking?
Final Four teams, those 4-1 seeds, were among the 6 teams with the highest payroll, so to speak, which is awful that I'm saying that about a college team, but here we are. So that needs to be noted, that you could certainly link the idea of having money to having a successful season. Sure. As far as the tiers go, UConn and UCLA have been operating in a different stratosphere, in my opinion, throughout the course of the season. Texas and South Carolina firmly in tier 2. Perhaps that's partially because they play in the best conference in college basketball, and so they beat up on each other in the SEC. That's why they fall into that second tier. And then everyone else is firmly behind them. And I think there's a bit more parity the rest of the way. But throughout the course of the season, yes, it has certainly been those 3 tiers, these 4 teams clearly playing at a different level than the rest of the field.
For sure. Now, we're geared up, and right about now, I think my guy Uncle Scott had a really great question that we talked about the other day. Scott, go ahead and hit her with it.
So UConn's been to 25 Final Fours, 32 Sweet 16s under Gino Auriemma. Is he the best women's coach in history, number 1? And number 2, do you think we'll even see anything close to what Connecticut has done in Gino Auriemma era?
You guys still got me?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I'm not here.
Okay.
I'm not here. I wasn't hearing his question. Sorry about that.
Okay, so Uncle Scott
ask
said, Uncle Scott was bringing up the fact that, Gino Auriemma has had a storied career with UConn, and it's not even close. Whoever may be second is pretty much far behind. So is there a possibility that we could see anything else that's considerably close to what we're seeing with UConn women's basketball right now?
Oof, you mean across the landscape of all sports or just women's basketball?
Yes.
Well, Scott saying all sports, Scott, or just women's basketball?
Both.
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, honestly, Nick Saban's dynasty at Alabama is probably the only other thing that comes to mind in terms of over a 20-some-odd year stretch to have such a firm hold and a strong hold on a sport. It's unlike anything we've seen. But like I said, as much as there's been 3 tiers throughout the course of the season, I do think that 3rd tier at the very least is more competitive. There's more parity. And that couldn't be said in the early years of Gino Auriemma's tenure in Stores, because it was firmly, they were at the very top with Stanford, Notre Dame sometimes, Tennessee when Pat Summitt had it going, and then it was everyone else. And it was about 6, 8, 10 tiers, levels below that top tier.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, when you talk about Pat Summitt, Muffin McGraw, those are some strong names in women's coaching and women's, NCAA, especially from these last couple of years. Now, something that we might not have gotten, or the regular average college basketball fan, women's college basketball fan, might not have been privy to, have been games featuring Texas and UCLA coming in with only I think it's 4 combined losses. How crazy is the level of dominance that we're missing out on? Because we know South Carolina. Shout out to everybody from the South Carolina area watching, because that's where Jay and I are from. But what are we missing when it comes to Texas and UCLA women's basketball?
Yeah, so let's start with this. UCLA lost just 1 game this year, and it was to Texas back in November in the Players Era Showcase in Las Vegas during the Thanksgiving holiday. And so they have redemption on their mind. And certainly on the Women's Selection Sunday show on ESPN Radio, we spoke with Gianna Neepkins, the star 5th-year senior for UCLA. And she said, yeah, I know Coach Close doesn't want me talking about it, but we are absolutely thinking about the potential of running it back, having that rematch, and avenging that loss back in November. So that's first and foremost to add another saucy storyline into the equation. But I think that what's being lost in the equation with Texas is just because Vic Schaefer's teams are so built around defense, despite the fact that Madison Booker is an All-American and she is the chef, Book cooks. And you saw that with the pure jumper that she put on display in the Elite 8 game in that come-from-behind win. And they're the type of team where they've been able to jump out to such big leads throughout the course of the SEC tournament and now the NCAA tournament. So when their defense isn't the only thing predicating the offense, when the offense actually has it going from the jump, that's where all of a sudden you're looking around and you're like, wow, this isn't a typical Vic Schaefer team. You also have to add into the equation that Vic Schaefer, until this season, had never beaten Dawn Staley in a postseason game.
Wow.
During his time at Mississippi State, during his time at Texas. That was a huge bugaboo off of his back, and I think it really helps bolster Texas's perspective across the country in terms of how people view them as a player in amongst the upper echelon of women's basketball teams. As for UCLA, they have 4 future first-round picks that'll be selected in the first round in 2 weeks' time in the WNBA draft. They have Lauren Betts, who is the definition of the Earth theory when it comes to women's basketball. There are not many 6'7" posts that are as fluid as she is walking around the earth right now. That's why she'll be a top 3 pick. But then to give any of the NBA fans a comp and a player to root for, Jaime Hawk has a sister, of course, Miami Heat guard, forward, whatever we want to call Jaime these days. His sister Gabriella not only plays for UCLA, will be a first-round pick. She's also on the softball team at UCLA. She's one of 2 players on Corey Close's team that plays both sports. And so it's a really fun UCLA team that I don't think this, I know this. I've questioned them throughout the course of Betts' tenure, Kiki Rice, the star point guard, because in the biggest of moments, they've melted down. But in my opinion, they have the most talented roster, yes, including UConn, in the Final Four. Now it's time to put pedal to the metal. And I think that players like Neepkins and Legger Walker, who came over from Wazoo, one of those other big transfers that Corey Close brought in, while I don't think they're going to light up the box score per se, that's the type of glue, intangible winners that this group just didn't have. And I really think that Rice and Betts are feeding off of them.
Yes.
We got a question from Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
So yeah, how you doing? First of all, and
I don't want to cut you off, but I still can't hear you guys, so you may need to relay the question.
Okay. So yeah, Jay, go ahead and I'll say it to her so she can hear.
I'm asking it basically as far as what we were talking about with Gino, in his dominance. Did he take basically the loss to South Carolina personal, and does South Carolina have a better chance than it did in the past?
Okay, so Jay said, in reference to Gino, once again, what happened with the loss to South Carolina, do you feel as though that he and the rest of the team are possibly taking this personal and are looking to kind of redeem themselves in this matchup?
Well, so you mean the loss last year?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm doing the math in my head. I mean, UConn's on what? A 48-51 game winning streak or something like that after winning the national title last year.
54.
and then they're undefeated this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to get it into context.
So you basically also aware that, he did lose to South Carolina 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Since then, he's drummed South Carolina.
Yeah, since
Will he continue to take it personal? Will he continue to take it personal from that point on? Like, he's going to get any chance he gets to basically drum South Carolina, any chance he gets. So,
Jay's basically saying that. Yeah, is there any opportunity where you think he's just prepared to drum South Carolina since that one loss, especially since they're going to be getting together this real soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at this point in time, both those teams really know each other well. Raven Johnson's been in Columbia for 5 years now. AZ Fudd's been in Source, Connecticut for 5 years. And so even if these iterations of UConn and South Carolina haven't had some of the back and forth battles of the team 2-3 years ago, some of the essential pieces on both squads were there. I don't think it's going to take any sort of pep talk pregame from Gino to let Sarah Strong and friends realize what the moment is on Friday night in Phoenix.
For sure. I definitely don't see that being an issue either. Now, the other day, I did get a chance to hear you on Freddie and Harry, where you got a chance to break the news about the WNBA and the CBA. Now, what I did was I took a little research moment. I read Michael Volpe's article on ESPN.com just to get a better context of what happened. Of course, the article was out there on March 26th, and he's got the 10 biggest takeaways from the WNBA's new CBA. Now, whether it's the family first commitments, the better salaries, revenue sharing, like where are some of the most impactful changes taking place?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest one is the idea of the salary cap going up from $1.5 million per team to $7 million. That's an astronomical increase. Additionally, the Supermax going up, but for me, and this is where I think for the common fan, I gravitate towards in terms of eye-popping numbers, just because I think it really puts it into context. When Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers, more recently, 1 year later after Caitlin and Angel came into the league, everyone made such a big deal about the fact that Angel and Caitlin were making $70,000 per year as top 7 picks, as the number 1 overall pick in Caitlin's case in the WNBA draft in terms of her base salary. Obviously, we know in endorsement deals, she's making $7-8 million, 7-8 figures. So obviously, we're talking millions and millions of dollars. But in terms of her salary as the starting point guard for the Indiana Fever, $70K. The starting salary now for rookies is going to be closer to $250,000, which makes a little bit more sense. Maybe it is still paling in comparison to the NBA top 10 picks in their draft, but that's okay because Rome wasn't built in a day. And I think that for so many, that's where I applaud Nneka Ogwumike, the president of the Players Association, Brianna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, Nafisa Collier, the vice presidents of the PA, because they did dig their heels in and they said, we're not just going to play ball with you guys because we want to have a season. We are going to dig our heels in. We do believe that we have the leverage because we are the asset to this league. And I give them a lot of credit because there were definitely points in time where I was like, geez, man, I was like, Caitlin, you got to play basketball at some point in time. But I think they were really able to look at this negotiation through the scope of when the drop dead deadlines would be in order to not have to cancel games. They navigated it perfectly and threaded that needle perfectly. And so obviously really excited to see these women earn what they deserve in terms of their monetary compensation. But also I think it's important to note that that number is going to grow not just throughout the duration of the 6-year life of this CBA, but obviously when they renegotiate 2030, there's an option to opt out and renegotiate, as well as 2031. The hope is the growth and proliferation of women's sports in general, let alone women's basketball, will allow for an even larger number, perhaps the number that certainly many were hoping for. And then I just also throw out the fact that the 20% revenue number that's being thrown out, that is indeed gross revenue. And that was such a big talking point for the women in these negotiations on the players' side, because net revenue is after you take out costs. But then the owners and the commissioner and the league weren't actually saying what those expenses were. And so the players of the last 2 years, for the first time in our history, we're obviously making money post-cost. So and I think the fact that they got it to definitively be 20% gross revenue and have that wording specifically in the CBA is maybe their biggest victory of all.
For sure. Nah, I could definitely agree with that. And one of the things we got a chance to talk about on another one of our shows that maybe one day you get a chance to take a peek at which is In the Hoop. We brought up the fact that the Unrivaled League sold out the Barclays for their semifinals and championship games. And I was like, if they are taking a look at what a smaller league did in a short amount of time, they have to continue to expand going forward. And I would think that has to be one of the things that they took a peek at. And Bobby G, you said you had one as well, brother?
I do. Bobby G, can you hear me, man? Please say yes. Oh.
I think it's the feed between the stream and whatnot. But go ahead and say it. I'll make sure I'll relay it.
I got you. Here's my question. My question is basically a lot of this is a result of the Caitlin Clark effect, right? What would she like to see from the powers that be to ensure that the league keeps growing and just keeps getting better and better? From a player standpoint, like what marketing tactics, what specifically would she like the league to do to ensure the continued growth of the league?
Yeah, so Bobby G is basically saying that this is somewhat of the result of what took place with Caitlin Clark and the interjection of life into the league, like as the growth continues happens and the players are considered, like how far can they take this? Just like you said, they have an opt-out in 2030 and 31. Like how much bigger can this become as we move forward, as women's sports are literally becoming more and more globalized every day?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me and not to toe the company line, but I will just tell you that with Sunday Night Baseball moving over to NBC, the fact that ESPN is carving out the primetime window on Sundays for the Women's Sports Sunday show, which in its first summer will feature the primetime WNBA games as well as the NWSL soccer games on the women's side. That is obviously a monumental watershed moment in terms of our culture, I would say, but it also really reflects the dollars and assets and the support that not only ESPN and the Walt Disney Company, but so many networks are hearing from their clients and hearing from their partners that they want to support women's sports. And so you're absolutely right, though, and I'm glad you brought up CC. I obviously am the biggest CC defender, probably in Jacksonville, having covered her when she was in high school in the state of Iowa. And yeah, you don't have this moment without Caitlin Clark. And I do want to make sure that's not me being biased towards my favorite player. That's just the reality of the situation, because she really does appeal to so many people who maybe didn't think about women's basketball as one of their primary sports of interest. The fact that she has inspired so many young girls to play basketball, and not that the women before her didn't, and she's made that very clear, but I think for so many in the mainstream, it has made them realize, wow, like she's in Capital One commercials, she's in Nike commercials alongside some of the biggest athletes in the world. And so I think it really has pushed a ceiling that was already partially shattered. It has absolutely gone through the roof of it because of the Caitlin Clark effect. And now the hope is that with Juju Watkins returning from her limbo year of sorts during her medical redshirt year at USC, she was right there slated to be the next face of the State Farm Nike commercials. She'll step in, and then more players come up behind her through the college ranks. I think that's what's been most cool for me as someone who's such a fan primarily of college basketball, but obviously I've expanded that to the WNBA in the last few years, that we've now really been able to, especially in a day and age where some of your favorite players in men's college basketball are flipping schools at the drop of a hat year in and year out. You don't know who's in the portal, who's going to the league, who's testing the waters of the NBA draft process and who's not. In women's college basketball, you are guaranteed to have these same players for at least 3 years in the college game, if not 4, because you have to be 21 by the January of your junior year, and it's very particular who could actually leave school early. And so I think the fact that, much like in the 90s with men's college basketball, with the Christian Laettner of it all, the fact that people were able to gravitate towards those players and those teams because they got to know them year over year, and now they get to follow them to the pro level. That's something that we saw it help grow the NBA once upon a time, from college basketball to the pros. We see it in football seemingly year in and year out, and now we're starting to see it with women's sports, especially on the hardwood.
Wow. Okay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you don't know, we are actually on the phone with National ESPN Radio's Mia O'Brien, hanging with us for a little while. We got one more question for you, of course, because we're getting up right up into that break time. So right now we're getting ready to enter into new territory with 2 new teams joining the WNBA in the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire next, right? After the coin toss, after the protected lists were submitted, and we're now on the eve of the expansion draft, which will air tomorrow at 3:30 on ESPN. With 2 new teams coming into the league and kind of what happened to the Valkyrie last season, what kind of names and what should we be looking forward to as we get 2 new teams this WNBA season?
Yeah, what's going to be really interesting is, of course, free agency won't start until next week. And so, to be honest with you guys, like, I've been trying to wrap my head around how a team can protect players even as they're set to hit free agency, so they won't actually be under that team's books. But now you've got Brianna Stewart saying, I'm not going to test free agency, even though it says on paper I'm an unrestricted free agent. I'm going back to the Liberty. And so I'm really curious to see how the other teams navigate who they protect and who they do not, because I've read some of these mock draft boards, and the thought of potentially, Atlanta, as they really lean into year 2 of Carl Semesto and this young 3-point shooting, pull up off the dribble type of offense, that they might leave Brittany Griner unprotected and she could be headed to Portland or Toronto. Like, that's one theory that's been floated out there. I mean, that's a future Hall of Famer potentially being picked up in an expansion draft. That is not something we saw with the Valkyries expansion draft last year. And so I'm really curious to see, because even if it's not Griner, seeing a name like Azurá Stevens, who made an all-star game last year, and I got to see her when I was out for the Fever and Sparks game in Indianapolis, underrated big, of course, a UConn alum as well. Like, a name like that, as McGregor out of Seattle, another player who obviously has carved out a nice role for herself with the Storm over the last few years. I mean, some of these names that potentially could be available. Kate Martin could get picked up for a second straight year in a second expansion draft. I think that because of the limited number of spots that you can protect, and also knowing that with the Supermax and this new cap number that's going to be put out there in 2026, like, the Aces know that they can give both Jackie Young and Asia Wilson the Supermax, but how do they want to build the rest of that roster around them? And so therefore you have to keep those cheaper rookies as opposed to some of those maybe tier 2 free agents. And so that's where it's going to be really interesting. And I think some big names could be swooped up by both the Tempo and the Fire tomorrow afternoon.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a blast with National ESPN Radio's Mia O'Brien coming in and taking time away from her family. So thank you so much, Mia, for hanging with the crew. It's your boy, K. Witch, your mama's #1 draft pick, Bobby G, Uncle Scott, and Jade, the MIC. This was great. We got so much information and so much to look forward to on the eve of the expansion draft. Final 4 games coming up, and I know you're going to be having your eyes on everything. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and you guys can also listen, just a plug for, I didn't even mention it to Brian, but the Women's Basketball Podcast. I do host for OG Triangle Media with USA Today's Mitch Northam. Mitch's boots on the ground. It's in Phoenix at the Women's Final Four, so go follow Mitch as well.
Hey, man, thank you so much. We appreciate you, Ms. O'Brien. I can't ask for anything else. Gentlemen, I don't think we got anything else to go. She didn't answer all of my questions. So we're going to go ahead and go right into the break. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Rec Room Sports crew right here in the Anajar and Levine studios on ESPN 690. You're welcome. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back. It is the boys from the Rec Room Sports Crew. We are here in the Anajar Levine Studios right here at ESPN690 with the gang. We just had a mind-blowing conversation about women's sports with Mia O'Brien, straight from National ESPN Radio's. Like, oh my God, so much information. I'm so glad we got an opportunity to share that with you all. So hope you were tuned in. And just like always, going into the top of the hour, because we got a couple of minutes, we got Uncle Scott in here. Big shouts out to my guy, Tanner from Basement Brew Fantasy Sports, doing his thing right now. So Uncle Scott, who hangs out with them on Lock It In, has got a couple bets to lay on it. Scott, what you got?
So I'll give you 4 in there very quick. UCLA is 1.5 point underdogs against Texas. Texas is really good, but UCLA is on a revenge spot here. As Mia said, I like UCLA to win that game. I think they have 4 WNBA talents that will make the difference. You got to go with UConn until they lose a game. 54 straight. UConn women -6.5 against South Carolina. South Carolina is really good. They'll be coming for vengeance based on what happened last year in the tournament. But I just think UConn's, until they lose, you got to keep going with them. On the men's side, Saturday night, Final Four night. I didn't go with the side in the Michigan-Arizona game. I went with the over 157.5. I think both teams can score. I think in a variety of ways, threes, inside, foul shots. So I think that game is going to sneak over into the low 160s. And the UConn men, Danny Hurley, 10-0 against the spread from the Sweet 16 of the championship game. He's 17-1 straight up in the NCAA tournament. You got to go with it until he loses. I'm not bucking the trend. UConn's +1.5. I like UConn a lot in the game. I think UConn will win. They'll build off the momentum of the Duke win. And the best thing for UConn is they've had 5 days to prepare for Illinois, which has been phenomenal for them. So I like
now, guys. Oh,
so.
no, my bad, Scott. Now, guys, as I was thinking to myself, right, listen to what Scott says. You got to do it for a little.
You tell me. You tell me.
Does that mean it's a double championship for UConn men's and women's on the horizon?
Man, I think the UConn women get stopped in the championship game. I think UCLA, LA, and Texas are the 2 best teams in the tournament. So I think the UConn women will fall in the championship game, but I think they'll get there. So
has either squad ever lost when they've both made it to the Final Four? I think they're like undefeated.
I think so. I think
every time both have made it to the Final Four, they both won the whole thing.
Yep. Yeah. But how can you bet against both UConn teams right now? They're both really good. I mean, Danny Hurley finds ways to win games in the men's side. They should not have won that game against Duke. Down 19, 1 for 18 from 3-point range.
But they did.
But they did. Yeah, but they did, as we know about Jay's love for Duke. So you just can't do it. I mean, they may lose to Illinois. Illinois is a really good basketball team. They have some dogs on the court that play. Mm-hmm. But until I see it in the final score, I can't buck the trend. 10-0 against the spread from the Sweet 16 to the title game. How can you go against that? You just can't. So, I mean, he just finds ways to win. He just finds ways to win.
Yeah. What can we name a better coaching duo in men's and women's college sports than Hurley and Auriemma right now? Like, those 2 names are synonymous with championship building, and that's it. Nothing else. Not even losses.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. It would be really hard to think of a duo. I can't find one right now. I mean, Danny Hurley's even given Gino credit over this last week, where I've never heard him give him credit before, about the culture of UConn and how he and Jim Calhoun built it. So, again, I just think that they're both coaching. I mean, they're hot coaches right now. They're extremely hot coaches right now.
How about Ben and Jerry?
Oh, wow.
Hagen Dazs.
Kevin Ollie couldn't pretty much do the job, and which was, you thought that, you would have saw one of Calhoun's guys or whatever, like, somebody, actually come in and help as a former player. But, yeah, I mean, that was the only small gap where you didn't have it. So yeah, it's kind of tough to beat UConn in both. I wish South Carolina would find some kind of coach, men's, but
Yeah.
they
I
tried
mean,
with
Danny
Brett
Hurley's
Ryan.
even giving Kevin Ollie credit.
Oh, wow. Well, we got to give credit. We got to give credit to Anajar Levine Studios, man. We'll be back right here at the top of the hour. Once again, it's the Rec Room Sports crew right here on ESPN 690. We'll be right back at the top of the hour to have more sports your way. We believe in Joe Hendry here. Come on, y'all know y'all like the song. Once again, boy, it's your boys Rec for Rec Room Sports. It's ESPN 690. We are live right here at the Anajar Levine Studios. And I'm listen, when he gets to that wave your hands from side to side part, I'm sorry. You got to get with it. Y'all heard it, right?
The Joe Henry song? Oh, absolutely.
Well, come on, dog. It's unmistakable when he gets to that part. The whole stadium's rocking. Everybody wave your hands from side to side to say.
Wait, you said his name. Is he going to appear? Is he on the phone right now?
Oh, wow. You know he is. Well, I'm waiting on him to come through the Anajar Levine door right now. But once again, guys, it's 2 minutes after the hour. It's the boys from Rec Room Sports right here on ESPN 690. And we have had a great show at the first hour. We actually had National ESPN Radio's Mia O'Brien talking about the NCAA women's tournament, the Final Four, how it's going down, what could happen. And she gave us a little insight on the WNBA CBA agreement and where it's going to be going into the future. So now we're going to muck it up a little bit. Okay. As we do a podcast, we are on the internet. This is where we bring the internet to your radio right here on ESPN 690. There have been a couple things, guys, in new media that's been taking place, not just on regular air, but actually in the podcast world as well. So we're just going to get right into it, man. If you've been living under a rock, Cam Newton got a podcast where he wears all of his funky hats and talks to his cousin, and they get into all kinds of foolery, right? So Cam Newton had Jason Whitlock, of all people, on his 4th and 1 podcast on March 18th. So the interview sparked a lot of controversy due to Jason Whitlock's critical remarks about ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. Now, if you don't know, brother Stephen A. Smith, who I just so happen to have right here on the wall, if you're not if you are looking at us, brother Stephen A. Smith is the flagship flag holder right there at the front of the ESPN network. I'm talking about one of the highest paid network men, company men. I swear if it's basketball season, he's on like 4 different shows, and he also does his own podcast. So you gotta respect it and check it when it comes to Stephen A. Smith. But anyway, the comments from Whitlock led to public backlash from other ESPN personalities like Ryan Clark, who is also on several shows like First Take, and Stephen A. Smith himself, who took to the airways on his own podcast to berate Jason Whitlock from top to bottom. And from the country, we would say from the rooter to the tutor. The episode was part of an ongoing discussion and debates on Newton's podcast and platform during that time. So as I see in the back, we've got our guy, AP Allen, what it do? We see you, brother. Welcome to the show. We are discussing this craziness that we've had happen for the past week and a half to 2 weeks of the back and forth between ESPN analysts and podcasters. Gentlemen, Jason Whitlock is a polarizing figure. That's a really good word, polarizing. Look it up, guys. You either like him all the way and you love his takes, or you hate him, you can't stand him, you don't want to see him on your TV screen. So for the line to be crossed on multiple lanes, let's say, I believe our guy Bobby G on the Audible Sports podcast, where Life of Sports Meet Culture, had an opportunity to dive into this one. So Bobby G, I'm gonna let you take the lead and tell us what you feel the people should know.
Yeah, man, it's just like Cam Newton, man. He said loyalty doesn't exist in the content game, but to me, it's more than about loyalty. It's about decency. Like, the relationship that this man has that these two have together, right? Now, I don't have an issue with them having them on his platform. You can invite whoever you want on your platform. However, what I have an issue with is not speaking up for who you know someone to be. Like, I have what people consider a really bad habit. I trust everybody. 100% of people. I trust 100% of people. But the caveat to that is I trust you who you show me to be. So in knowing you gentlemen over the years, And like you said, I have my own platform, Audible Sports Podcast. If I have a guest on there and he comes out on there and he's talking about Scott, and what he's saying is who Scott has not shown me to be, I'm going to give pushback. It's going to be, wait a minute, that's not who he's showing. You know, that's not who I know his character to be. Yeah. Elaborate on that. Why do you feel this way? What has he done to make you feel this way? And I think that's the main issue. It's not laws. It's just having the decency to speak up to who you know someone to be. And that's why I think most people 100% agree with Ryan Clark. It's like you can use your platform for whatever you want to. No problem with that. But it's the non-pushbacks. The same issue that people had with Shannon Sharp for the Cat Williams interview. It wasn't that you let him come on there and say it, is that you gave zero pushback. And to some of the people you know. Now, if he's speaking on somebody who you don't know, you don't know this person, you have no relationship, okay, I understand you taking it at face value. But Cam, you are in this man's face twice a week at least. You have a relationship. He's invited you to his platform, which is one of the biggest in sports television.
Yeah.
You know, he means something to you. You know, your relationship is deeper than hosting guest. It's deeper than that. He's giving you game, you know, in this area. So yeah, like you have to give a pushback. Like, you can't just. I guarantee you, if he'd have came on there speaking about Cam Newton's dad,
oh wow,
he would have gave some pushback. If he would have came on there talking about Cam Newton's kids, he would have had something to say about it. But you know, you just gotta use your platform for whatever you want to. But you know, you also, the flip side of that coin is you have to be able to be ready to take the criticism when you don't live up to a certain standard.
Yo, if he said anything about Angela Simmons, he probably would got some pushback.
Oh yeah, called him. He couldn't, because he called him a goofy. You goofy, so and so.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. I really have not too much of an opinion on other than the fact that, again, I also agree with Ryan Clark. Like that, you don't do that, man. Like that. I mean, just like, you know, Bobby, I don't agree with you. I do agree with you can have anybody on your platform as you want, but
right.
You still got to treat it like it is what it is. Like, you know, there's a problem here. So again, just so many things that you could have took it so many different ways. As far as if he has an opinion, okay, I respect your opinion, but that's not, you know, like, come on, man. You know, at least try to seem like you're convincing him that, hey, man, y'all need to work it out. Something, you know what I'm saying, in a more positive light. So that's kind of my issue with it, but. Man, Cam being Cam, man. Cam being Cam.
I mean, the two-pronged question I would have on this is, one, where is the genesis of Jason Whitlock's anger or opinion of Stephen A. Smith is coming? Where did the genesis of this start? Number one. And number two, I agree with you guys. If I'm Stephen A. Smith before First Take goes on and Cam Newton's on that day, I ask him, what the heck, man? What's going on? Why? You know, because it looked like Cam basically had a set of questions, had a certain amount of time with Jason Whitlock, or carved out a certain amount of time, and then said to Jason, we're done, without any pushback at all. It seemed like this was Cam already had the sheet of paper with the questions down, and he said, I don't have time for pushback, so I'm just going to let Jason say whatever he wants to say. And I'm not going to push back until after the show's over. That's what it seems like to me. And whereas that's not a great podcast if you're not, there's no back and forth. Hey, why do you feel that way about Stephen A? What you know? Tell me why you feel this way, and then I can give you my opinion. We can go back and forth for a few minutes. If I have to cut out a couple questions at the end, I cut them out. But that's what makes a good interview is you go back and forth with somebody. If you don't agree with their opinion, say, Jason, I don't agree with you. Can you tell me why you feel this way? And then he gives his, like you said, Bobby, he gives his opinion, and then they have a back and forth. Not an argument, but just a back and forth.
Yeah.
But, you know, it doesn't make any sense what Cam did in that.
It just seems like it's gone are the days of just having a civilized conversation, even if you disagree with somebody. It's like, we don't have to like certain people. We can disagree on, but we can still have a conversation, a meaningful conversation with people without it, getting to the point where it's like, okay, I'm just not going to say anything. But yeah, I 100% agree for sure.
And as you agree, the funny story is I am in the same boat. If I don't switch sides, period. Hey, Brian's over there hanging out right now in the production studio, and he goes, hey, man, I can't stand that guy down the hall. I'm not going to invite him down here and go, hey, Brian, I got an interview with this guy. Right. He works at WAPE or another station or something like that, which Brian does not have any beef. Brian is neutral. Brian is cooler than a fan, I promise you. I would not want to endanger my relationship with somebody who's putting me on just to satisfy viewership, maybe. Or my own curiosity, whatever it was with Cam. If you allow Cam Newton to come on your show and wear city hats, Cam should have knew what to do. Anyway, let's continue on. There's more beef, okay? So right now, another thing sparking the airwaves, especially in the minds of hoop fans, okay? So Pat Bev, everybody knows for the Pat Bev podcast, which now features Jason Williams, a.k.a. White Chocolate, which they have changed the name to Hoopin' Hollering. Right now, Pat Bev has gone on the internet and said, hey, James Harden is better than D Wade. Oh, you want to know why? Because James Harden has this stat. James Harden has that stat. James Harden did this. And then somewhere on the backlash, y'all know D Wade is connected. D Wade got to go on his good friend Carmelo Anthony's 7 p.m. podcast and go, I don't know why he is even talking about me. Is this person even in the top 75 to have this conversation? You know who is in the top 75 and could have this conversation? James Harden. Me and James Harden could have this conversation. Maybe Wilt Chamberlain if he was here. Maybe Jordan could talk about it. LeBron could talk about it. Dennis Rodman could talk about it, but not Pat Bev. No.
Duke player can't neither.
Oh,
cut it out.
My fault, man.
Here's my question.
But once again, like Jay said, a player from Duke could not have that argument as well. But anyone else but Pat Beverly can have this. But in my mind, Patrick Beverly, one of the most fierce defenders during that time period, who has defended both James Harden and D Wade during primes of their careers, kind of can have a little bit of a say. But the idea is he brought up stats. Gentlemen, in real life, if I'm bringing just numbers to the conversation and I'm pointing them out to you, do I have an argument where I could say James Harden is better than D Wade or no?
Yes,
Bobby, cover your ears. Cover your ears, Bobby.
You know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. And this is why people think athletes are soft nowadays. You can't have a conversation about sports. I'm tired of these dudes getting up there and going up there, and once they had this magnificent career, act like they was never a regular person that talked about sports. This is what we talk about. This is what we do. This is why you have a platform after your career is over to do the same doggone thing. This is why we love Shaq, Ernie, and Chuck, because they do the same thing on inside the NBA. Yeah, Kenny, my bad. And running to the board. Shout out to Kenny. I'm sick of it, man. They act like they are beyond reproach because I made it to this level. And you know what, Dwayne Wade? I'm glad you said exactly what you said. James Harden can't have that or Pat Beverly can't have that conversation because he wasn't better than him. So guess what, Dwayne Wade? I don't want to hear you talk about Kobe, MJ, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Larry Bird, Dr. J. I don't want to hear you talk about you ain't better than none of them. So I want to hear. And as a matter of fact, don't ever go on Carmelo's podcast again because you weren't better than him.
Wow. Yikes.
Here's a question. I'm just sick of it, man. They got to, in a minute, this sports talk is going to die out because nobody's qualified.
Here's a question. Why do all these athletes have a podcast? Why are we giving these athletes a podcast? Patrick Beverly? Really? Does he?
Hey! Let me tell you something. Patrick Beverly sit up there with his legs crossed and have great conversations.
He does.
But seriously, I mean, every athlete that retires or is near the end of retirement has to have a podcast. Why? Why do you need to have a podcast? And then you go on the podcast and say stuff like this. Come on, people. I would never listen to that podcast if that was the case. James Harden been enjoying. I mean, come on, really. I get it. But he needs to show me something in the playoffs before I even broach that subject.
I mean, I'd bring up another name, but it's probably not. It's the wrong sport, so I'm not even going to bring it up. So,
yeah, I kind of agree with I kind of agree with what I guess Pat Beverly is saying in a way, but you know, Bobby, you couldn't have said it better. I'm not. I don't think I know we're speaking in Florida here, but like D Wade is not that high on the shooting guard list or the greatest players ever. If you ask me, you know, it's just I could think of so many shooting guards that have played in the league who easily could have been a Dwayne Wade as far as his accomplishments, being the fact that the people who he played with. And I'm not gonna go too deep in it, but. He had a sort of tailor-made career that all he had to do was just capitalize, and he did. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like Pat Beverly, there is a debate to be had. Like James Harden was a leader of the team. James Harden did win the MVP. James Harden did lead the league in scoring multiple. He led the league in scoring and assists. Like Dwayne Wade hasn't done any of that. I don't agree with it. I think Dwayne Wade was a better player because Dwayne Wade played both ends of the court. Like James Harden would never be the defender that D Wade was. Offensively, though, he's far superior to Dwayne Wade. So, but I agree with him from the standpoint. Dwayne Wade is a better player, but there is an argument to be had. But Dwayne Wade just pushed me all the way to Pat Beverly's side by saying what he said.
By the way, Jay, Dwayne Wade's on line 1 for you, just so you know.
I'm saying. We can talk about it. It's just it's just one of those things. I'm not a big D Wade fan. I mean,
no, I get it.
You know, there are a lot of players who have had better longevity and better. I mean, that's the only flaw when you talk about James Harden and Dwayne Wade. The defense. If we were talking about somebody who made defense off defense a few times, man, this will be. You know, peanuts as far as the conversation. Like, what are we even talking about? So it's you know, D Wade kind of need to simmer down, man.
Yeah, I'll give you an argument that most people would laugh at when you hear it, but when you think about it, Dwayne Wade and Manu Ginobili.
Wow.
I was actually going to bring Manu up because I feel like he's a little bit better.
I think Manu's better than Dwayne Wade.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili, if you go back, I know that Spurs team was stacked. You had Tony Parker, you had Tim Duncan, but there were times where neither of those guys showed up. Manu Ginobili would basically take over a game, and like you could not stop him.
Yeah, he'd score. He'd drop a 30. He'd drop a 30 spot, and you didn't even know it. It was like quiet as 30 points.
A championship. Probably could say he probably was almost as good as Dwayne Wade. Like,
oh my God, Sean Marion has entered the chat.
Damn, man.
Man, you know what though? In real life, guys, Manu Ginobili could go to 266 Blandon Boulevard and head right to Unique Trends and Styles, Suite 8A in Orange Park. That's where Manu Ginobili could get his haircut at, guys. If you didn't know, they cut all textures of hair. They got a loctician in the building. Shannon's in the building. Flipper's in the building. Biff the Barber is in the building. What's up, Mr. Ray? How you doing? All right, bring the whole family. There's a kids play area and even a game room for the adults so you can get beat on 2K while I'm getting my head shaved because that's what I do. Unique Trends and Styles right next to City Thrift on Blanding Boulevard. Enter a customer, return his family. It's 21 after the hour. We got some more to talk about because I know it's some Duke fans out there. So we're going to bring something up just for you. It's the Rec Room Sports Crew, ESPN690 in the Anajar Levine Studios. Brian, hit the music. Okay. Yeah. Track Masters. Rock on. Y'all remember that, LL? Y'all remember that? Anyway, man, it's the ESPN 690 show. Well, excuse me, the RecRoomSports show right here on ESPN 690. Get it backwards. I'm a little discombobulated because while we were off the air, I had some really, really tough discussions with our producer, Brian Middleton, about Manu Ginobili and his place in the pantheon of shooting guards during that time. Because for some odd reason, Brian feels like Manu ain't tying D-Wade shoes. I don't know. I don't know, Brian. We gonna have to talk a little more about that one. You know, maybe when there's no sports and we just gotta have some debates, we will do it because, of course, the Rec Room Sports Radio crew will bring the internet to your radio. Now, as we were discussing a couple things that were going on the internet, I would be remiss not to bring this up. Recently, our good friend right here on ESPN Radio had Chris Webber on the show, and that is Rich Eisen. Everybody knows Rich Eisen from the coverage of the NFL draft, the Run Rich Run, where he runs the 40. Awesome guy, great personality, been on the air as long as I've been eating cereal out of a bowl. Rich Eisen is a Michigan man, and he had some really interesting things as he read an article from Bleacher Report that was also featured in the New York Times, which questioned the ulterior motives of not liking Duke. Now, I know if you're watching the NCAA tournament, you got a chance to see that shot go in and Duke just be canceled out of the history books to possibly be considered for a championship this year. So before we go any further, I got Brian. Brian, you ready for it? We got Brian to hit the button. Let's hear what Rich Eisen had to say to Chris Webber.
It's very insightful.
Wow. So just in case you didn't know, that is a clip from Rich Eisen's podcast where he got a chance to interview Chris Webber, another Michigan man, on the eve of the game in which Duke was put out by a last-second shot from UConn. So the question was asked, fellas, is it still fashionable to hate on Duke? It just so happens that we have someone who may be considered a more knowledgeable person about this matter. So let's go ahead and kick it to him. Jay, is it still fashionable to hate Duke in this era of basketball?
It's not even fashionable. It's like wearing draws. What you talking about? Come on, man. Is it still fashionable? I mean, you heard how you put it. I mean, it's like sun shining. You know what I mean? It's just like things that just basically happen. It's inevitable. Like things that we see every day that we're blessed to see every day. It's pretty much the norm. Of course, man, it's fashionable. I mean, I think a lot of it comes with a sort of image Duke had at that point, which I feel like they didn't really get away from until recently. But yes, of course, man. Of course it's fashionable, man. It's just pure hate. What else you want me to say other than like this? Just things you're born with, and there's some things I can't explain. I hate them. So of course, I think so. I hate them.
Wait, can I ask something?
Of course.
Jay, which college basketball team do you root for?
I root for North Carolina, man, Scott.
Everybody
out here to know, like, of course,
Hold on, wait. We got to hit the dog on that one.
fellow Tar Heel fan with the Jordan shirt on right now, talking here. Like, yes, hey man, through and through. Like I've grown up in the greatness of Tar Heel. I would say success. You know, the success has been a bit different, even though we've been the most recent to win a championship. I mean,
Oh no.
you know, but it's just some things that on a broad scale of what a college produces, North Carolina has set the stage. They basically, you know, showed greatness on not only the level and collegiately, but players have moved on to transform careers of greatness compared to some of these guys who grow up to be insurance salesmen and sit next to Coach K while they're like 20 something and still like back on the bench with Coach K. Hey, but hey, anybody else could chime in. I love this. This is a great time in just college sports for me. Anybody who's a Tar, it doesn't. You don't even have to be a Tar Heel fan.
So
Hate Duke.
Yeah, 2 points. One, I think you can hate them, but you can also respect them at the same time for what they do in terms of college. And I think number two, I think the further we get away from Duke winning an NCAA title, the less the hate happens. I think because Duke hasn't won a championship in 8 years, 7 years, whatever it is. I think the longer we get away from Duke being on top of the NCAA basketball world, I think the hatred kind of lessens. I think once Duke wins it again, I think you'll see all that hatred come back up to the top again, other than North Carolina fans, and go out and be out there. But I think until they win it, you know, everybody was like, "Oh, poor Duke," you know, they lost, they didn't deserve to lose and all that. 7 years ago, you would not have said that about Duke. 7 years ago, you would have said, "Thank God they're out. It couldn't have happened to a better program." But right now, it's poor Duke because they haven't won in a while. So I think the hatred has kind of been hidden by a lot of people. I don't like Duke. I just like Coach K and respected what they did for all those years. But
and who are you a fan of, Scott?
Boston College.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to say UConn. You know.
UConn too. Yeah, Boston College and UConn. I'm a fan of all the New England schools. UMass, UConn, Boston College. BC's first and foremost, but then UConn is next. But I respect what Duke did. I respect what Duke has done.
Yeah, you got to give proper shot.
They're not on the top of my list. John, yeah.
I say, don't forget Hawaii, Scott. Don't forget Hawaii.
Hawaii too, yeah. John Shire is not the most likable coach in the country right now, in my mind.
Yeah,
he's not the most likable coach. So
yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of his either. You know, it's kind of lost. Duke's kind of lost a little of its luster since Coach K retired. You know, obviously he brought such a presence to that position, and you know that's why he was considered one of, if not the greatest college basketball coach of all time, because he just knew how to win. That's why he was the coach of the U.S. U.S. team for so many years as well. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's still going to be hate on Duke no matter what. It depends on who you ask, really. So, I mean, I'm not a fan personally, but I agree with you, Scott, too, is like you respect Coach K for what his accomplishments are and what he's been able to do throughout his career.
Yeah. And I'll say this, guys, of course, we're in a different generation, you know, as we are all a little older, we're growing up, you know, with more access to the players. So they're kind of humanizing them, because at one point in time, you had to kind of like believe in the ghost of JJ Redick when he was in the Duke jersey, because he was like, who's putting up all these points? That guy? And then he would go out there and light you up from around the perimeter. But then prior to that, everybody else in the generation knows about the ghost of Christian Laettner and how everybody despised him. You know, all the way from anybody in North Carolina, you know, from the Tar Heels uniforms to, of course, players like C. Webb, who eventually got to, you know, face it with the Fab Five in Michigan, and then go up against them a little bit in the pros. But then when we get to some of these more recent names, I feel like they humanized them a little bit. You know, you talk about Zion, Jason Tatum, Paolo Banchero. You know, we kind of didn't like Kyrie Irving, but we didn't like Kyrie Irving I'm not me, but people didn't begin to like Kyrie Irving until into his NBA career. And Grayson Allen, oh my God. Now, I can't lie. If there's a polarizing Duke player from the last 15 or 20 years, Grayson Allen was that one.
Yeah, there was a player I would see in trouble.
Grayson Allen right there next to each other.
Yeah, there's a player in college basketball that I see it down an alley, a dark alley, getting beat up. I would definitely walk past if I see Grayson Allen.
But to the Leitner, before Bobby goes, to the Leitner thing, he has 21 tournament NCAA wins, most of all time. I don't know if anybody will ever break that. He may go down as the greatest NCAA tournament player in history in the NCAAs.
Yeah, nobody stays that long anymore. It's hard to break.
That's the other thing. Yeah, nobody's going to break it if they stay 4 years. In today's landscape of college basketball, nobody's breaking that. Nobody.
Sure.
So,
yeah, and I would say in the black community, it's different. There's a different disdain. I'll say disdain or dislike instead of hate. And it's because if you didn't come from an affluent black family or affluent school or location, you weren't getting recruited to Duke. There's a reason why in the black community Duke is held that way. And if you do go to Duke, you're considered, I don't want to say the word, but you're considered goofy, if you do. If you go back and watch the Fab Five doc, like Jalen Rose alluded to it, they didn't like Grant Hill because they considered him goofy for going to Duke. And there's a reason why they recruited Chris Webber and they didn't recruit Jalen Rose, because Jalen Rose didn't go to a nice private school in the suburbs. He went to Northwestern in Detroit, which is in the inner city. And so that is carried on to when we see schools that we feel represent the culture play Duke. And when Duke beats them, it just stings a little bit because it's I don't say like poking fun, but it was kind of like another way of just being held down. Why would every university in the country recruit a kid from a certain place except this one? And like that kind of has carried on. That's to this day. So for the culture,
to this day,
that's where it started for me.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest. That's sort of where it started for me, and that's the only way I looked at it. I kind of give I wouldn't say kids, but like guys in their 20s, pretty much younger generation fellas who did not really see the late 80s, early 90s and 90s at all, right? I kind of respect them more as a Duke player because they didn't see that. You know what I mean? And what they're seeing now is Kyrie. They got the Kyries, the shoes, Jason Tatum out there. You got Zion out there. You got so many players that have made household names in the next level that I can't even argue with a Duke fan, in this era, because that's all they know. They don't know James Worthy, Brad Daugherty. They don't know, Jerry Stackhouse, like Rasheed Wallace. Almost every point is a dunk, like a dunk fest. It's just nobody, a lot of people haven't seen that dominance, from Carolina. So I like as far as the younger guys, man, they, I can't argue with them when that's all they know is Jason Tatum and Kyrie and Zion.
Yeah.
So I still put them in a little history, lesson. Just a small history lesson. Just like being told about Len Bias. So
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When someone brings up Len Bias and what he could have been at Maryland and what he meant to, even when Jordan commented about him, it's one of those things where if you can watch that ESPN 30 for 30, you knew if Len Bias just so happened to not try to do what he was doing or hang with who he was hanging with that night, the league might have been on a whole nother ear during that era where the 80s led into the 90s and pretty much turned into the Jordan era. Once again, guys, great conversation. Hating Duke is okay. Liking Duke is okay too, but of course, right here on ESPN 690, it's the Rec Room Sports crew. We got some bills to pay, so we'll be right back. And of course, we got our slice of life and a couple more things we're going to throw out there before we get out of here, man. It's the Rec Room Sports crew right here on ESPN 690. Let's go. Yeah. That's right, man. 44 minutes after the hour. Well, technically 16 minutes before the hour. It's the boys from the Rec Room Sports Radio Show. We got AP in the building. Alan, thanks for joining us. Bobby G, of course, from Audible Sports Podcast, where Life of Sports meet culture, and Jay the MIC. We still in here arguing about Manu Ginobili on the low, guys. We really have to have this debate on the air. And we will cut the mic off for Brian to speak his piece. Before we get into the end of the show, man, I forgot about something. Last week we had our guy Nick Bodkins in the building to talk about the UFC Fight Night. Israel Adesanya lost to Joe Pyfer by TKO. It's a tough thing to see when one of your heroes goes down. I'm a big Israel Adesanya fan, but one of the greatest middleweights ever. He's on a 4-fight losing streak, but he said it right there in the ring. I'm not quitting. I'm not going away. Also, I would be remiss to not mention that the Jags front office and the other owners unanimously decided for the Jags to be temporarily moved to Orlando. Yeah, that's right. It won't be downtown no more. You got to go to Orlando, but that's okay. Little hour and a half, 2-hour ride ain't hurt nobody. We still gonna go out there and support them boys from Duval, man. And I was just saying, guys, y'all, we've all been in and around sports towns, right? The economics that surround the stadium, all those people riding bikes, all of those people with the go-karts, with the speakers on them, you know what I'm saying? Driving you from the stadium to your car. Jay, you know about that from having lived in Atlanta. They gonna be missing out on a whole bunch of money. Jay the mic. Yeah, but
kind of. You can hear me now. Yeah. Kind of compared to basically the Braves moved from Fulton County to Cobb County. But this is temporary. So
it's
that's
temporary.
The right side, right? So,
right.
But there was a bit of shadiness involved in the move to Cobb County, but from a lot of people who frequent Braves games, they kind of were happy to go to Cobb County. There were certain things that they looked at as a bad mark on the area, which everybody didn't agree, but I kind of understand.
Yeah, for sure. Like Bobby being a Cleveland native, like I can imagine the disparity between LeBron being in a Cavs uniform to him not being in the Cavs uniform would be somewhat of a good comp for you to understand. But of course, you in Vegas is there all day, every day. Nothing's changing in Vegas. It's gonna be alive no matter what.
No, I would say it wouldn't even be a LeBron thing. But for Cleveland, like we kind of went through something similar. For those who remember, the Cavs used to play in Richfield, Ohio. They didn't always play in Cleveland. So like from their early years, from their inception, actually in the 70s up until the mid 90s, they played outside of the city of Cleveland. It wasn't until the Gateway Project, which included their current arena and what's now known as Progressive Field, back then it was Jacobs Field, were both built at the same time. And that's actually what brought them from Richfield to the city. So yeah, it's a similar thing, it's transition, and hopefully at the end of the day, as long as it benefits the city of Jacksonville, that's all that matters.
And then of course, Alan, you right there, you're out there in Oklahoma. Imagine a world where there is no Oklahoma City Thunder. That's got to be a huge disparity for the area in and around you, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you still got college football and stuff like that around here, which, me living in Norman right now, I can understand why it gets so busy here now. So, because, obviously campus is buzzing. Stillwater's the same way with the Cowboys and how much money they put into that program. I mean, currently right now, they're building a new arena for OKC. Which thankfully, you mentioned moving arenas and stuff like that. The new arena is literally going to be right across the street from Chesapeake Energy Arena. So not much of a change is going to happen. It's just going to be a brand new shiny arena for the Thunder to play in here in a couple of years.
It's going to be look, OKC benefited from, and it's funny to say, the movement of the Hornets going to Oklahoma so that the NBA could see that, hey, this is an area that can support an NBA franchise. So all of my fans of the Jags out here, let's go support Trevor. Let's go ahead and take a little trip to Orlando. They got enough going on down there. You could, hotel accommodations, highway traffic is always already crazy. We're not going to add nothing for when we go down there. But, of course, they got those international games first. Big shout out to Shad Khan. One day somebody got to put me on the phone with Mr. Shad Khan so I can tell him, let me come and visit your boat. But before we get up out of here, I would be remiss to not ask Brian, hit that music. Man, how are we going to do this? Let's see. As we go forward, man, this is where we got a moment to say this is our slice of life, right? Every once in a while, we get our guy, Bobby G, to have a moment and kind of lead us into a serious conversation at the end of the show. And I'm going to take a lead on this one because this is kind of a big deal. Recently at the beginning of the show, I mentioned that everybody should know that Tiger Woods had an accident in which he could have seriously hurt himself or several of the people due to his bouts with not only depression, but alcoholism and possible abuse of substances besides alcohol. As someone who has had to undress themselves and realize that I'm the problem, I wish everybody around Tiger Woods could just grab hold of him and tell him that he'll be okay. Because I, too, had to go through something very similar. There was a time in my life where 1,800 bottles would call my name as I was driving by stores. I would go in to get gas and I would leave out with multiple alcoholic beverages, and I would not wait until I got home before I opened them, ladies and gentlemen. And I do not condone drinking and driving, and I do not condone alcoholism, but I understand that it is something that is prevalent in both Black, brown, white, and beyond communities. This is one of those things where I hope that Tiger Woods gets to go to another country like he's been allotted to and undresses himself. And when I say undress himself, if you've been in these rooms that you will go to where the people are anonymous, but they have great things to say, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? They will undress you. You will no longer be Tiger. You will be Eldrick. I think Tiger needs to be Eldrick for just a little while because Eldrick is the one with the problem. Eldrick is the one who feels the hurt and pain of losing billions of dollars or millions of dollars because of the decisions that he's made. Eldrick is the one who is missing out on the love of the game of being out there on the course, playing golf, smelling the grass, hitting the ball far and long and on like the Masters court. That is who he needs to fix his issues with, because when it was me, man, I had to undress K Witt and I had to talk to Whitfield. Yeah, that's my real name. I'm just giving y'all a little bit of information. And that's a hard conversation to have sometimes, y'all. And I know there's somebody out there listening to me right now and they're like, yeah, man, I had to do it too. I get it. Because listen, I was a professional. I could go to work. I never lost my job because of it. I never really got in trouble because of it. But there were things that were happening in my life where I was losing out on opportunities, and I could, give you a full list. And my friends were there. Some of them, helped me slow down, and some of them took a step back as I did my recovery thing. But I am glad to be here to talk to you all about that today. So as I speak on this thing that is known everywhere, especially here in Florida, where Tiger Woods had this accident, I'm hoping that someone listening to me right now gets the vibes and says, you know what, I could chill out too. Because if you put down one cup, you can put down two. If you can put down 2 cups, you can put down 3. If you can put down 3, then you can go out and just have a good time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm perfect right now, and I am extremely clean of not drinking, and I don't have a beer every now and then, but I am far, far from where I used to be as far as substances and alcohol are concerned. And if I did not make those decisions based around the factors of like my family, me having children, me loving my mom and my dad, me loving the idea that I can, wake up and go to work on time and I don't have to make an excuse the next day. I can eat and I can feel comfortable with eating and not go, man, I got to drink some water. There's so many things that happen physically and mentally when you get an opportunity like this. I would be remiss to not bring them up and say, just imagine if you didn't have to go through that, who would you be? Because I'm living that world right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on the air on ESPN 690 because I made a change. And Tiger Woods could do it too. But Eldrick got to be the one in that room to have that conversation first. And that's my slice of life, y'all. We ain't crying like Bobby. We ain't crying. This is a good one. So I hope you heard it. I hope you took something from it, because you too can change. Just start with that one cup or that one beer or that one vodka or that one Hennessy, tequila, whatever it is. Start with the first one. Put it down.
Why I gotta be Hennessy? What you trying to say, man?
I'm trying, Whit, I think Whit knows that I feel like a total problem right now with 1800, because that's
listen, we was boys. We stepped away from each other. We got our lives together, bro. Look at you. You here with me too.
I'm just saying. I remember that day. I was like, yo, man, where you get all these 1800 bottles from?
Hey man, listen, 1800 is we could have bought stock at 1800 at one point in time, Jay and I, ladies and gentlemen. But we are both here. We are on the other side of that coin, and we doing better. And the crazy part is, I'm telling you, there's somebody right now that just finished in their mind making that decision to go and get some more to drink or to go get another beer, but they got to go to work tomorrow. Yeah. You're gonna risk it. I know you are. I used to do it too. Okay. I would get in the car, and that's the thing. Around Jacksonville, some of the stores will give you ice in the drive-thru. They want you to start.
Yeah.
So just take a minute, man, and reconsider it. That's all I'm saying. There is so much more worth for you to do if you don't do it. I promise.
Yeah. And to add on to that too, it's like if you're struggling with that, I've recently gone through the mantra of saying take it one day at a time.
One day.
Like if you're like, one day is not going to break everything. One day might be the worst it could ever be, but the next day might be the greatest day you've ever had. So
ever. Thank you, Alan. We appreciate that. Hey man, thanks Jay. Thanks Bobby G. Thank you, Alan. Remember, y'all, one day at a time. I'm not perfect. I'm still going to have a good time, but I'm going to pick the right time. It's your boys from the RecRoomSports Radio Show. This is ESPN 690. We in the Anajar Levine Studios. That's Brian, who does not like Manu Ginobili. Go ahead and play us out, my boy.
Hi, Brian.